Hey, happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Good to Go. I'm Noah Kravitz from TechnoBuffalo.com.
And I'm James Kendrick from ZDNet Mobile News.
James, what's going on? Happy June, happy official summer, even though at least up here it's been cold and rainy since
It's
summer
like 100
started.
degrees here.
So there you go. You've got the
Just like
summer. We've got the...
Houston Gulf Coast. I mean, this is it. It's
yeah.
already here.
Yeah, no, well, I guess we've got the typical Bay Area summer, which is, cold and overcast instead of
Yeah,
hot and
more
sunny.
importantly, yesterday was the first day of hurricane season,
Right.
which is what we watch quite carefully every year.
Yeah, no kidding. And tornadoes in New York, or tornado warning in New York City
It's like
yesterday.
crazy. It's just
really
like
is. It
crazy.
really
I don't know
is.
what's going on. It's 2012's coming.
Well, I guess that's why we're not meteorologists. We're mobile phone guys, so mobile device guys. So maybe we
Yeah.
should talk about what we know. A lot going on this week. Preview of Windows 8 shown off yesterday at the All Things D or the D9 conference, and then Apple doing what they never do and pre-announcing what they're going to talk about at the WWDC keynote out here in San Francisco on Monday. So why don't we start with what actually happened already? Windows 8. They showed off. The president of Windows Mobile was on stage with the kids from the Wall Street Journal and showed off a preview of Windows 8. It's going to run on tablets. It's going to run on, big desktop monitors. It'll run on ARM, system on a chip builds.
Laptops.
Yeah. What's your take? What'd you see? What'd you think?
Well, yeah, they must be feeling a lot of pressure because they actually did the same presentation at Computex in Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the dog and pony show. They gave a brief, demo of what the interface is going to look like, which is kind of like Windows Phone turned on its side, for a bigger screen.
Yeah.
And I just find it pretty interesting that their contention that they're going to have the same version of Windows 8 running on all laptops, tablets, and desktops. And boy, I just think that's biting off a lot more than they can chew because those are totally different device types.
It sounds like a hot mess to me. I don't know. I'm not. I wasn't at the conference. I was watching some of the live blog coverage while I was trying to get some other stuff wrapped up. So I read about it more later, and I have not been a day-to-day Windows user for quite a while. And when I was, it was short-lived. So I'm maybe not the best person to talk about it. But I mean, what you just said, trying to do one operating system, one platform for all those different sizes of devices and use cases, and the whole it's all touchscreen based, but then it remaps stuff to the keyboard and the mouse or trackpad. And I don't know, just what I saw kind of looked like the Windows Phone Metro UI sort of as a skin. And then you get underneath it, and I guess they're going to have certain apps built for the portable devices, but the rest of the apps will be regular Windows apps. And then you're trying to navigate with the touchscreen. It just reminds me of the old Windows Mobile where you had a stylus and you were trying to poke around on little scroll bars on a portable screen, and I don't know. It didn't sit well with me.
Well, I mean, the interface itself, I have to admit, it looked pretty nice.
Yeah.
But I think the problem they're going to run into is what has always been a problem for Windows Touch tablets, because I mean, there are Windows 7 Touch tablets out there today. The problem are the apps. I mean, are the developers supposed to write every app to handle all of these different types of devices?
Right.
If it's one version? I don't think they're going to do that. That's a lot of work. And
Yep.
I'm not a developer, so maybe I'm taking a very narrow view of it, but I just can't imagine trying to produce an app that works well with touch on tablets,
Right.
but yet works okay on desktops with a keyboard and a mouse. And
Right.
it's just really hard to tell where this is going. And what's amazing is they really are feeling pressure because they're moving fast with all of this.
Yep.
I mean, Microsoft doesn't move fast ever.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they've stepped forward and said, let us show this off this week, because they're feeling the heat and they know they've got to do something.
They are, and they just showed off, the Mango update for WinPhone 7, and this gets a little beyond my knowledge of the business side of desktop and laptop hardware, but rolling out Windows 8 for ARM and just what that opens up, seems like the whole Microsoft Intel ARM relationship seems fascinating and like perhaps really the bigger story than the Windows 8 UI, but I mean it's all obviously linked together. I don't know. There was a thing online today, I guess at Computex. NVIDIA was showing off one of their quad-core Kal-El reference designs running Windows 8, which sort of takes the whole thing about single-core, dual-core, quad-core smartphones and tablets into this new realm where, well, it's not just a tablet, it's Windows, and just what that's going to open up, Pandora's box of I don't know, business opportunities, fragmentation, developer concerns, you name it. I don't know.
I mean, we'll just have to see how this shakes out. It's too early to really make any determinations, but it's just very confusing, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, yeah.
But one thing's for sure, in my opinion, Apple has got these guys scared. I mean,
yeah,
they do. The iPad is just caught the entire mobile industry by surprise. I mean, yeah, I even hear every day today from my readership, there's a huge contingency of people that say, "Oh, tablets are a fad. They're going to go away." I tell you what, I don't think anybody's really taken into account how many iPads that Apple has sold.
Yeah.
This isn't a fad. This is a gigantic industry.
Well, so let's talk about that, and let's look ahead to next Monday. And it's funny to say look ahead because right now you've got not just the D9 conference, but Qualcomm's Uplink conference going on, and the heads of HTC and Nokia speaking.
And Computex is over there too.
Computex is going on. Yeah, and all kinds of stuff going on. But like you said, sort of looking at how Apple has sort of just, I mean, shifted the power around, and people started chasing them to try to catch up with what's going to happen next. What is going to happen next? They went ahead and dropped a press release earlier this week saying, at WWDC we're going to talk about Steve Jobs will be there. He'll be there with a team. It won't necessarily be just Jobs giving a keynote, but they'll be there. They're going to talk about iOS5. They're going to talk about Lion, of course, the next build of OS 10, and then iCloud. And lots of speculation, everything from, the iTunes and the cloud service to system-level integration with Twitter. Twitter announcing this week they're moving in on YFrog and TwitPic, and they're going to launch their own photo hosting service. All kinds of stuff going on. Apple rolls out the iWork suite for iPad and iPhone. So now they're, kind of formally making, I don't know if it's an enterprise move, but just, another sort of step towards
productivity move.
Productivity move. Yeah, that's the better word for it. I don't, from the little I know, and I know we're talking about mobile and not, desktop, laptop stuff, but it all bleeds together so much. The little bit that I know about Mac OS 10 Lion, the next version, next big, update to the Apple operating system, things like full screen apps and things like sort of an app launcher where you can see all of your applications in one sort of grid of icons view. I mean, the desktop is becoming a little tiny bit more like iOS. And so what is this, we can talk about anything, but when we were talking about Windows 8 and how, Microsoft feeling the heat and tablets not being a fad, Apple seems committed to, it's not just that they've rolled out hardware and they're trying to make a move in mobile, they really seem to have a vision for what they think personal computing and perhaps computing in general is going to look like in the future. I don't know. I mean, open question to you. Anything from what do you think we're going to see next week to, is that where we're headed? And is everybody sort of now chasing Apple's vision of what computing is becoming?
Well, I think that's probably true somewhat. I mean, Apple has made it clear, because they've showed off pieces of Lion before. So it's not like this is brand new. They definitely have tried to take the most compelling factors of the iPad interface and bring it into the desktop. There's no question. They're very straightforward about that. Yeah, we're bringing some of this stuff in here because it fits, it works, and that's what they do, is they try to bring stuff in that works. I think what we'll see next week, definitely the talk is going to be centered around Lion and iOS 5 or iPhone 5. iOS 5, I guess, is what we should say, since they're not going to do hardware. And I think it's going to be very software focused, and I think there's a good reason for that, because they're not ready to bring out a new iPhone, I don't believe, because they just did the deal with Verizon. It would just be silly. I mean, it would kill the Verizon customers if they brought out a new iPhone.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think September.
Yeah, it's going to be later. So, and then plus, you know, we just had a refresh of the iPad. We have had the iPhone 4. It's now been out for about a year. But, you know, the iPhone and the iPad are now such mature products that I think they're pretty much stuck from here on out at very incremental type of upgrades. I mean, I really can't see them, wow, let's completely shake things up. They're selling too many of these things to change them too much. I mean, it would be silly from a business perspective.
I agree with you, and I think we're at a point in the product cycle where we're going to shift back to seeing, you know, I think for the past couple of years we've seen big leaps and bounds in mobile hardware advances. You know, the processing power and the display resolution and the sophistication and response time of the touch screens and the accelerometers and the gyroscopes and the front cameras and all that stuff. And I think we're going to shift back to seeing a little more in the way of software and services, you know, coming more to the fore. And of course, like you said, you know, they have to, especially a company like Apple, you know, their bread and butter is moving hardware and moving sort of, you know, premium hardware. But, you know,
and they're already doing that.
Yeah.
See, that's the whole thing. And their other thing is about very, you know, a holistic approach to the user interface and usability of the products. And I think that's why they're kind of stepping back now and moving, like you said, to the software side. Let's really start bringing all of this stuff together. And that is, I think, the move they're looking at to keep them ahead of the competition. You know,
so
they don't have to have new hardware to do that. They can keep innovating in other areas.
So iOS 5, you think we're going to see big changes, what people say under the hood? You think we're going to see big changes on the surface, big revamp to the way it looks and functions?
I would be surprised. I mean, I can't see them completely shaking things up that much.
I can't either. That's not really their style. They do, you know, they don't have to do anything. It seems like they do have to do something about notifications. I can't see them doing.
We've been saying that for years, and they're saying no, we don't.
Yeah,
I mean,
widgets. I don't think we're going to see widgets. I don't think that's Apple's style. I think widgets might make sense on the iPad, but they're not going to change one and not the other. It's just you know, I don't mean this in a positive, negative way. I just mean that's how Google rolls. And Google's now trying to bring it together with Ice Cream Sandwich, tablets, and you know, phones. Apple's already got it together, or they're bringing it together, and I don't think they're going to, you know, put widgets on one and not the other. And I cannot see them putting widgets on an iPhone screen. It just doesn't seem like what they would do.
Yeah, and the fact that they have converged the two device types into basically the one version of iOS actually limits how much they can change.
Yeah.
Like you said, they can't make drastic changes on one, most likely that won't screw up the other. Or diverge it again. And I don't think they want to do that. I think it'll be software under the hood stuff, and we're going to see a lot of cloud stuff, and they're really going to start promoting the heck out of that.
Yeah, so and I'm not sure where we're at with our timer here to keep this this monster.
Yeah, we're pushing it already.
All right, so real quick, what do you look up into the sky? You see anything in Apple's cloud, or is it murky and we just have to wait?
No, I think they're going to tie it into everything from OS 10 on the desktop to the iPad through iTunes. I think they're gonna cloudify the whole shoot match, and they're gonna find ways to monetize it.
iTunes, perhaps deeper Twitter, maybe Facebook integration, more options for sharing.
I'm not sure they need that stuff.
No. And
I mean, they've already got it through third-party apps, and there's not really a good way to monetize Twitter and Facebook. That's what everybody else has discovered.
Right. They're doing it, but they're not. Yeah, right.
They haven't really found a way to do that. I mean, we all like to be on each other's Facebook walls and tweeting all the time, but we don't want to pay anybody for the privilege to do that.
Right. Whereas, if you want to not have to worry about if you've got a particular song on your iPhone or not, you'd pay a few bucks to stick that all in Apple's North Carolina data center and stream it down to your device.
Well, that's what I was going to suggest is, let's say, how can they make money off of, say, Twitter? I mean, I hear a lot of people who are heavy on Twitter saying, I wish I could back up and archive all my stuff.
Right.
Well, that's where the cloud could come in.
Right,
so you know what? We'll suck all your tweets up to our cloud, and and we're Apple. They'll just be there.
Yep.
And so there you go.
Yep.
And we'll all end up paying them so much per gigabyte, for storage, and we'll just have to see how they play it, though.
Yeah. And so no new iPhone hardware next week.
No, I can't see it.
I don't think so either.
Just can't see it.
Well, whatever it is, it'll most likely only be part of the story. They'll roll out, some of the stuff in iCloud and some of the stuff, iOS5, the beginnings of it, and it iterates like everybody else does. And B, I think we'll be back here next Thursday to talk about, whatever it is that goes down between now and then.
Then there'll be one more thing.
There'll be one more thing? There's always one more thing.
And it'll be software or services.
Right. All right. Any final parting shots? Anything going on your ZDNet blog over there you want to talk about before we go?
Well, no, just business as usual, trying to cover all this stuff.
Galaxy Tab 10.1 officially announced for the U.S. today. I think you mentioned, or maybe it was before we got on the air, a date leaked for the HTC Evo View, the flyer coming to Shift. I mean,
the Evo 4G is getting an official gingerbread update in 2 or 3 days.
The Evo 4G getting gingerbread.
Yeah, so I'm getting ready for that by unrooting my Evo.
Unrooting your rooted Evo.
So I can get the OTA update, because gingerbread's a big change, and should have the new HTC Sense interface, which we've already talked about about the flyer. We both are impressed with that, so I'm getting ready for it. That's why I've almost bricked my Evo today.
And that's going to be on the T-Mobile Sensation, which they just announced yesterday. Officially. So always busy. Always busy. All right, well, James, till next time. People want to check out the blog. The URL is
zdnet.com/blog/mobile-news.
And as always, I'm over on Techno Buffalo with the crew. So, James, till next time, I hope the weather cools off, or at least the air conditioning stays on down there in Texas.
Not till December.
All right, we'll see you next time, James.
All right, see you, Noah.